Hey everyone, Blugoblin here. Thank you for joining me for my comic book review, very late comic book review for this particular week of August 2015. Now, before I get started, I need to clear something up. Yes, I know what I said on my Facebook page that I was going to take some time off from YouTube due to being so completely busy, which I am. I have been incredibly busy, but truth be told, after the weekend I just had, I just got like basically, in a figurative sense, a shot of adrenaline to get back into doing this. Um, Now I won't be doing it on here, but I'll be doing a video after I do this one in which I show off what what I experienced at the River City Comic Expo, in which I got to meet one of my heroes, Gail Simone, who was just a tremendous sweetheart to me, and meeting her and having fun, spending the day with my girlfriend and her niece. We just had a blast. It was just a day that we just spent to ourselves, and we just had fun. Got to meet some really interesting people, got to just have a blast, just have the day to ourselves and just enjoy it. And I had such an incredible weekend. It gave me the uplifting I needed to get back into doing this. So I am doing this. Got a big stack here, some from Marvel, some from DC, and I got some IDWs. So we're going to start things off with Marvel. We'll start Marvel off with The Amazing Spider-Man Renew Your Vows, number 4, Dan Slott, and some dude named Hubert, I don't know. But no, okay, all kidding aside, I gotta say this. This is still a really good story. Really good storyline. I'm really digging this. This was a good showcasing for the daughter that never was, Annie Mae Parker. Really, really good. And, you know, I'm still one of those fans that likes seeing Peter Parker as a dad. He's, you know, he's married, he's got a child, he's raising this child, he's got a family, he's got people to fight for. You know, he's got a true, legitimately solid reason to be a hero. And not only that, he can now, you know, since Annie Mae has got his powers, he now has a future through his daughter. He now has the ability to pass down this responsibility to the next generation, and I really like that. I really like where this particular issue goes. You know, we get a nice swerve with Sandman, but there's still this big lingering problem in this storyline. Regent still is kind of blah as a villain. Regent as a villain, I just ain't feeling it. I still am not feeling it because he's just bland. He just feels like he's there, and his motivation. We finally get a short but sweet explanation as to why he's stealing all these powers and everything, but I'm not going to give that away. Even though this has been out for quite a while, I still don't want to spoil it. But man, all the stuff that goes on in here, the rest of the stuff is actually really good. And it's nice to know that Annie can hold her own in a fight. I think Annie being so willing and able to put up a good fight, I do feel like it's a little bit premature and a little bit forced because she is inexperienced. But it is what it is. This was a solid issue. I did enjoy it, despite all the major flaws that this storyline does have. But, like I said, it feels more natural, feels more realistic, it feels more fitting to see Peter Parker having a family to provide for, to fight for, to raise, to teach, to teach and to learn from. This was an enjoyable read. Despite the flaws, I still enjoyed it. I give this a 3.5. Moving on to Guardians of Knowhere number 3. I believe there's still copies of it right over here. Yep. Little cheap plug for Arkham Comics. Yeah, issue 3 Bendis and Deodato. Wow. What's the dude's name again? Yotat? The Destroyer of the Destroyer. Yotad as a character, I say, The rest of the story is really good, especially the stuff with Angela and Gamora. My God, that was the one point of this issue that really gripped me. The rest of the stuff, not really that memorable in my opinion. Like, Yotad, fuck him. The stuff with Drax and Rocket, that stuff is really good. But for me, what really sells this issue is Angela and Gamora. Their differences in opinion on how their religion is based. Because remember, this takes place on Battleworld. You know, Doom is God. And, you know, they're debating on what to believe in and everything. I like that Marvel is touching on this subject. Because we're not talking about just Doctor Doom here. We're talking about religion in general. And this is a very touchy subject, and Marvel didn't really nail it with this issue, but it's a subject that's worth mentioning. You know, what do you believe in? What should you believe in? You know, the subject is touched. It's not really in-depthly covered, but it is addressed in its own unique way when it comes to Battleworld and Doctor Doom and stuff like that. But this was a pretty solid issue for what it was. I think I'm gonna give it. I think I'll give it a 3.5 as well. Maybe just a 3. I don't know. I'm kind of up in the air for that. But there you go. All right, we're ending Marvel with Star Wars number 8. By the way, I'm not gonna do a pick of the week for this particular set of books because it's been out for a while. You know, some of these books could have been a pick of the week, but you know. It's kind of late to actually do a pick of the week when I'm so far behind. But Star Wars number 8, Jason Aaron and Stuart Immonen. Okay, issue 7 was a filler issue talking about what Obi-Wan Kenobi has been up to since Revenge of the Sith, episode 3. And here we are jumping past episode 4. We're about to reach episode 5, but we're not there yet. And here we are with Luke going off. Luke is kind of reckless in here. He comes off kind of reckless in here. I'll admit that. But you know where his heart is. You know he's built. They're building him up. You know, having this big heart of the Jedi and everything. He's not afraid to use his lightsaber, even though he's not really truly experienced with it. But the other stuff in here with Han Solo and Princess Leia, you know, with Han's wife and everything. I mean, the recurring line is, she's not my wife, she's not my wife, she's not my wife. It's like, okay, we get it, she's not your fucking wife. This was a solid read. I really dug it. Nicely done. No real complaints. I'm not going to go into depths because I don't want to give everything away. But this... It was a solid read. I dug it. I really dug it. Thought it was nicely done. I give it a 3.5 as well. Moving on to IDW. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles number 49. Oh man, we're building up to the big 5-0. What are they going to do for issue 50? I am on pins and needles. Waiting for issue 50 after reading this book. This was fantastic. This was really good. You got Shredder and his deal with Baxter Stockman, and it is upsetting that, you know, it's upsetting certain specific members of the Foot Clan that Shredder is resorting to working with scientists to do a ninja's job and everything. And there's treason afoot. In the Foot. that joke was completely unintentional, and I know that joke sucked. But a challenge is made. The gauntlet has been demanded, and this is a very different take on the gauntlet. It's not going to be everybody fighting to the death. What this is building up to is a fight to the death between Splinter and Shredder. The Turtles are going to fight for their master, while 4 members of the Foot Clan are going to be fighting for Shredder. And the way this is built up is just really, really gripping. And after reading this issue, I'm like, oh my God, what the fuck is going to happen in issue 50? I am so anxiously awaiting that book. And I know it's going to be oversized and probably overpriced, but I don't care right now. I am so ready to read that book after reading this one. I just can't get enough of this. This has been one of IDW's best series, one of the best comics going on the shelves in general. Really good stuff. This easily gets a 4, maybe a 4.5. We're going to stick with the awesomeness with IDW. My Little Pony Friendship is Magic number 33. I'm still kicking myself for waiting so long to get on board with this series. I'll admit it, I'm a brony. I don't dress up in costumes or anything like that, and I don't own any t-shirts or anything like that. I just watch the show and read the books. I do have some Applejack stuff. My girlfriend's got some Pinkie Pie stuff. My girlfriend collects My Little Pony toys. And I got a couple of Applejacks, I'll admit. This is the next part of this is the conclusion of the Night of the Living Apple storyline, in which, by the way, I fucking love this cover. This cover is awesome. But we get vampire ponies. They resurrected an old alter ego of Fluttershy, and she's Flutterbat. But Twilight is going to use Flutterbat as a template to change them into vampires, but still have control over their rationale, their thoughts, and their actions, unlike Flutterbat. It's kind of like when Gohan grows into a big ape in Dragon Ball Z and loses all sense of focus and just becomes a raging monster, like the Hulk does when he hulks up. It's one of those situations. But the other ponies have got full control over their reasoning and everything, and they all got like vampiric like names. I think the one that cracked me up the most was Nosferarity. They each got really clever twists on their names with, the vampire and everything. And god damn it, I'm gonna say it, better vampires than Twilight. Not Twilight Sparkle, but the sparkly vampire shit with what's his face. But really, really gripping conclusion to the Apple storyline. Nicely done. And great lines at the end of the book. This was fantastic. I fucking love it. This is great stuff. I give this an easy 4. Alright. Going on to DC Comics. Going to DC with Batgirl number 42. Yeah, I pretty much said I was going to be done with this by the time 41 came out. Then of course 41 was so good. I was like, okay, Christ, now I gotta stick with it. I gotta know what's going on in here. And it's Batgirl and Batman taking on Livewire. Now here's an interesting twist. Batgirl now knows that Batman is her father. Excuse me for a second. Endora, what are you doing? Kitty cat, get out of there. Sorry for the noise in the background. It's the cat fishing around and stuff. But anyway, where was I? Like an interesting twist in here is Batgirl knows that Batman is her father, Jim Gordon. But once again, remember, Gordon doesn't know that Barbara's Batgirl. And I really liked this issue. I didn't think it wasn't a 5-star classic, hell no. But what I liked about it is that they have definitely toned down the social media shit. I think they realized that they were just overusing that gimmick way too far, and I think they realized that, and they're just like, okay, let's keep it in there, but let's tone it down to where it's bearable. That's how I felt in here with this. And of course, the issue ends with a big surprise, the surprise return of Barbara's ex-roommate Alicia, and she drops a bombshell that her and her girlfriend are getting married. But in the middle of the book, the way they deal with Livewire is just really good stuff. And Jim is basically telling her, look, you need to be careful because I'm not going to always let you have a free pass. It's basically that kind of storytelling. This was actually a fun issue. I actually enjoyed it, and of course, the enjoyment for this series goes back up when I'm considering dropping it. So there you go. I give this a 3.5. They really tried their best to make this a really solid issue. And that leads us into the Batgirl Annual number 3, and the cat is right behind my camera. Cat, you better not mess with that camera. Hang on a second. Get over here, you fat thing. You don't mess with my camera? You don't mess with my camera? Hey, go on. Get out of here. Go on. Go on. Shoot. Or lay there. I don't care. Lay there and claw up that carpet. That's enough. Little brat. Okay, Batgirl Annual number 3. This is with a special appearance by Grayson, the former Nightwing, the former Robin, now Super Spy. This was interesting. Now, this is another one of those Batgirl books where, you know, it's still there, but it's not heavily overused like it was before the whole social media shit and everything. But this was a charmingly fun read, you know, where, you know, Grayson is trying to, you know, stay away from Barbara because she's in the middle of one of his missions along with Helena Bertinelli, the New 52 Huntress, if you will. And there's all kinds of instances where, oh, you know, they're probably going to meet up. You know, they're probably going to see each other and all that shit. And there's all kinds of close calls, and Dick is reduced to using cheap tactics with high-tech disguise equipment to get by her so she doesn't recognize him. And she even ponders for a minute. It's like, could that be? No, it couldn't be him. But this was a fun read. I really dug it. I thought it was good. I thought they did their best to give us a decent annual. Is it worth $5? In my opinion, not really. But they tried. I thought this was nice. I give it a 3.5. They really tried. I got a back issue here. Batman Beyond number 3. This came out even earlier than this week in books. But Jurgens, great writing. This is good stuff. This is good stuff. Cat, go on. Don't be messing with that shit. Go on. But yeah, anyway, Batman Beyond number 3. We get to have more encounters with Brother Eye and all that stuff. This was actually really good. One of the things that got my attention heavily was the stuff with Matthew McGinnis. You know, he obviously resents Tim being Batman. He believed that Terry was meant to pass the mantle down to him once he came of age. You know, I get it. I get it. But in here, you know, it's just Batman and, you know, Barbara escaping from Brother Eye's captivity. Yet at the same time, they think they're getting away, but what actually happens is their getaway plan bites them in the ass. But I'm not going to ruin what happens, even though this book's pretty old by now. I still don't want to ruin everything that happens in here because this was actually not that bad. This was actually a really good setup to, you know, continue the storyline down the road. Nicely done. They did a great job with this. Not perfect, but still a really fun read. I really liked this. I give this a 3.5 as well. Going to Harley Quinn Power Girl number 3. Look, I love the Harley Quinn series. I love what Connor and Palmiotti do with it, but this, I just ain't feeling it. I really ain't. I love these characters. I love Harley. I love PG. I love these characters, but this just it just looks like a cheap 70s sci-fi flick and a cheesy one at that. It just came off like that, and I'm sorry, most of the comedy in this issue just didn't. I just didn't find it that funny. I didn't find it that entertaining. The stuff in here, it's not a bad book. I'm just not feeling it as much as I should be. You know, because I feel like they could do a lot better than this for a Harley Quinn Power Girl series, but they're trying. They really are. I'm going to be fair and say it was slightly above average. I'll barely give it a 3. And that they tried. Justice League Gods and Monsters #2. DeMatteis and Bruce Timm. Oh, man. Still not over that idiotic character development with Becca from the first issue. She gets physically and verbally abused by Superman in the first issue, yet she's still gonna fuck him. It just makes her character look fucking pathetic and weak. You know, when you think of the term Wonder Woman, you think of a strong character who, think of a strong female character that don't take bullshit like that, yet I don't know what it was, but that character development from the first issue just really bothered the hell out of me. And in here, you see more of this, a similar build-up to her character. You know, she sees Superman in agony with this whole Forever People upgrade that he's supposedly getting. And we find out the true motivation behind this professor using this Forever People shit. And then we get to see how much these Forever People are, these just arrogant fucking pricks that they are. And still the best character done in this is Kirk Langstrom's Batman. Still the best character in this series so far for me. And wow, it's just a really interesting cliffhanger. Yeah, I'll go with that term, interesting. An interesting cliffhanger. Not a bad book, but still could be done just a little bit better in my opinion. I give it a 3, maybe a 3.5. Alright. Jumping over to Martian Manhunter #3. This one is getting weird. Okay. First of all, John didn't die in the second issue, of course. To actually think he died in the second issue, that's a load of bullshit. But in here, it's like he's referred to as the Weapon. You know, they're trying to cover up this lie that he's the last Martian in existence, when in actuality he's not. And they're all in search for the Weapon, and we get to see what actually happened to John when he did what he did in the second issue. You know, we get to see what a minor spoiler here, but he actually didn't blow up. He actually like split into like several different beings, and we get to learn the identity of Mr. Biscuits. And I was like, huh. You know, I kind of saw that coming, but you know, it is what it is. This is it still keeps my interest. And Rob Williams, the writer, you know, he's done good stuff. He wrote the Shaft series for Dynamite, so I've got my hopes that this series will get better over time. You know, and I got word from my bro, TheMtVernonKid, that this series should indeed get better as long as he's writing. And so I'm going to trust him, and I'm going to stick with this. I thought this was a bit rough, but not bad. I actually liked it. But I just felt this series so far has been just really teetering on the weird side. I give this book I'll give it a 3. A 3.5. There you go. Okay. Secret 6, #5. Oh my God. Gail Simone. I just met you, Gail, and I should have told you when I met you. I hope you're watching this, but I should have told you when I met you this past weekend that I loved what you did in this issue. So many reveals in here. We finally get the true identity of Big Shot, but I dare not spoil it. We get more backstory telling concerning this character, and I really loved that. Some good character development for Catman in here. The team finds out the true identity of Mockingbird, and we learn the real reason why Scandal Savage, yes, the big thing I didn't reveal in the last issue when I reviewed it is that Scandal Savage, Jeanette, and Ragdoll are finally in this book. And speaking directly to Gail, thank you for that. You brought back one of my favorite characters that you helped make famous, and I really truly appreciate that. This was amazing, and I got to see why Scandal is working with Riddler. Man, I don't want to ruin that either. I mean, Riddler just comes off like a real smug bastard in this issue, and I loved it. It was a solid read. I loved the hell out of this book, and I'm not just saying that because I just recently met Gail. I'm saying this because it's the fucking truth. This was simply amazing. I loved it. This easily gets a 4, maybe even, dare I say, a 4.5. This was stellar. Loved it. Moving on to Sensation Comics number 13. What this basically was a writer and 3 artists tackling a story in which Wonder Woman fights Superwoman from the Crime Syndicate. Man, this was a bit cheesy, but goddammit, I liked it. This was a bit on the cheesy side, I will admit it, but you know, sometimes cheesy sells, and for me, it sells in this issue. This was good. This was really good. This was a nicely done action sequence. This was a nicely done. This was a fight. This was a long fight scene that actually had storytelling before it happened, while it happened, and after it happened. You got good storytelling. You got good action. The artwork, hit or miss with me. But what really sells it is the storytelling and the action, not so much the artwork. But I love the stuff. You know, Wonder Woman's proclaiming about how good she is, and you got these 3 citizens that, you know, of course one's going to buy it, but then the other 2 are kind of, you know, why are you bragging so much when you got all these powers to help you out? We're just normal people. And you have Superwoman coming in, you know, basically, you know, sticking up, you know, agreeing with them, saying, why are you so special, you know, and it's just a really good and really well told fight. It's all it basically was. Nicely done. I applaud you, DC, for this. A 3.5. We're ending it with Wonder Woman number 43. This was good. Finch, good job. This was awesome. You got Donna Troy. She's escaped. Of course, Diana easily figures out that it's, you know, Strife let her out. But what Donna's after, wasn't expecting that. Donna's looking, let's just say Donna's looking for a way out after getting out. And she even goes so far as to going to the Fates. Yeah, the Fates. The three wise ladies who spin the threads of life and then cut the threads once the life's over. You know, those Fates. And I loved the dialogue that the Fates were given. I loved the way the dialogue was written for these characters. It's almost like they're speaking in riddle. It is so uniquely well done. I loved that. But then you got the other part of the story with this arrogant prick who wants to be a god, who's going after Diana like he's like some disgruntled hitman who just can't get the job done. And then when he finally gets a lucky shot, quite literally on Diana, you can see by the expression on her face, and especially with her eyes, that, then he gets this attitude like, uh-oh, I really fucked up, and he tries to get away. But the ending of this issue was really gripping, and I'm like, huh, this was a damn good read. I really liked it. Now I didn't cover everything that happens in this issue because there's another big moment in here, but I don't want to ruin it. This was good. Really good. The writing was solid. The storytelling, the pacing was good. The pacing was just well enough to, keep you interested. They shifted back and forth between certain plot points, yet it worked. And the artwork was really good too. Fantastic read. I loved it. I give this a 4. Well, that's all I got for this review, everybody. I want to thank y'all for watching. Hoping to get this uploaded as soon as possible. And coming up, it'll probably be either on this channel or my Blugoblin X channel, but I'm going to do a video covering my trip to the River City Comic Expo, so be looking out for that. Please subscribe to this channel. Don't forget Blugoblin X. Look for me on Twitter at Blugoblin01. Look for me on Facebook. You can look for me on Pinterest, on Tumblr, or you can stick with me here on YouTube. Keep an eye out for my bros, TheMtVernonKid, Deadpoolzilla, and Brandon Hex. Yeah, thanks again for watching, everybody. I am Groot. I'll see y'all later.